Today, I'll be talking with fellow watch enthusiasts about the Panda Daytona released by VS Factory, specifically the differences between the old and new versions. At first glance, from an appearance standpoint, you might not see much of a difference, right? The color scheme is the same. But if we take a closer look, there are some fundamental differences. The first is its chronograph subdials. The 3, 6, and 9 o'clock subdials, right? You can feel it. For these subdials, the old version with the Dandong for 130 movement has thicker markings. The new version with the Dandong for 131 has a finer font on the subdials. That's the first point. The second point is the hour markers next to them. On the Dandong 4130 movement version, they are thicker and shorter. Thicker and shorter markers. If you look at the new Dandong 4131 version, the markers are thinner and longer, right? That's the second difference. Then, the third and most obvious difference lies in its bezel. The ceramic bezel on the 4130 version does not have this steel ring for protection, right? It only has an exposed ceramic bezel. But the new Dandong for 131 version has this steel ring that protects the ceramic bezel. Because ceramic itself is relatively brittle and prone to shattering, if you have a severe impact, it's possible for the ceramic bezel to crack. But with the Dandong 4131, adding the steel ring for protection is much better. Yes, steel has a higher hardness. At most, it will only show signs of wear. This might be because the genuine manufacturer also recognized that the ceramic bezel is prone to shattering, so they upgraded it with this steel ring in the new model. So, we'll stop talking about the Dandong 4130 and focus directly on this Dandong 4131 movement. Right? Let's experience the overall details and craftsmanship. And as I always say, C Factory is no longer in the picture. All the so-called C Factory Daytonas you see now with the new 4131 are actually using the Shanghai 4131 movement, not the Dandong for 131. I'll focus on this movement for you in a moment. First, let's look at the overall appearance, details, and craftsmanship. And for this model, I personally think what VS Factory does better than C Factory is the central pinion stack. Their central pinion is much more refined than C's. You can get a feel for it. The central pinion has that bud-like, solid design, with a small cap shape and a small rivet in the center. Yes, this design is completely consistent with the genuine article. While the solid central pinion from C Factory is also well made. If you compare them, C's central pinion is noticeably slightly larger than VS's. That little cap shape is a bit bigger. But it's not a big deal, right? If you don't magnify the details, it's perfectly fine. It's just that when we do reviews, we tend to analyze things more deeply. The central pinion on the VSE is indeed more aesthetically pleasing than C's. Moving to the chronograph, the subdial at 3 o'clock is the minute counter. 9 o'clock is the hour counter, and 6 o'clock is the independent small seconds hand. Right, the one at 6 o'clock is constantly running, and you can feel the concentric circular graining, or CD pattern, on the subdials. It has an oily sheen and a very fine texture. The entire dial has this ivory white color. Yes, the black and white color scheme is quite attractive, the classic Panda Daytona look. And for the entire ceramic bezel, it uses a ceramic insert filled with platinum powder. So with current technology, you don't have to worry about the bezel markings turning gray or black. That won't happen. If you see some grayish particles, that's just dust. You can simply wipe it off. Then there's the steel ring design, which provides better protection for the entire ceramic bezel. The entire case is made of 904L steel, and it features a step design on the edges here. Meaning the transition where the bracelet meets the case is also well executed. Now, let me measure its dimensions and thickness for you. Let me give you a feel for its dimensions. Let's measure it. It might look a bit different on video. It's 38.8 millimeters. The thickness is, let's check the thickness. This 4131 is even thinner, around 12.1 or 12.0 millimeters thick. Regarding the size, the Daytona, whether it's the new or old model, has a diameter of about 38.5 millimeters. This model, with the added steel ring, E is about 38.8 millimeters. The official data from the genuine manufacturer says 40 millimeters, but the actual measurement is also around 38.5 millimeters. You can measure your own Daytonas. If the diameter reaches 40 millimeters, then it's not the correct version, not the top tier one. I have to be honest with you about this. Next, let's briefly look at the quality and feel of the bracelet. The main focus is to talk about this movement. The polishing on the edges, the chamfering here, is all well done. Now let's look at the overall texture of the case. You can see that every single edge and corner has been rounded and polished. Let me let you feel it, this side too. And here's the crown logo. Let's open it and look here. This is completely integrally molded, without any trace of welding. Right, you can use this to distinguish whether it's a top-tier product. Opening it to look inside, the clasp engravings, including its Rolex logo. The small dots are all there, the security marks, and the 3XU code. The case back is a solid, sealed design. And one more point I forgot to mention is the crystal. This crystal is a fully transparent sapphire crystal, and it has a domed pottery design. A sapphire crystal, and its edges are also rounded and polished. You can feel this. They are all rounded and polished. This is also flawless, since it uses a fully transparent sapphire crystal with a dome shape. From any angle you view it, it won't appear opaque or lack clarity. If a semi-transparent sapphire were used, when you look at the edges, it would look like there's a layer of glue on it. But with the one from VS, there's absolutely no such issue. It uses a fully transparent sapphire crystal. Right, so now let's remove the case back and show you this genuine integrated Dandong for 131 movement. You can get a feel for the real integrated Dandong for 131 movement. Unlike the so-called C-Factory Daytonas on the market now, which actually use the Shanghai 4131 movement, I'll put a picture of the Shanghai 4131 movement in the top right corner for you to see later. The polishing on the Shanghai 4131 movement is very rough, including the balance wheel at the 7 o'clock position. Its shock absorber is that gourd-shaped type, whereas the Dandong 4131 movement uses this centrally mounted, eye-shaped proprietary shock absorber. You can get a feel for this shock absorber. You can also take a screenshot to compare. The blue hairspring is also present, and the balance wheel at 7 o'clock is executed perfectly, consistent with the genuine. The gear train under the balance wheel is also fully functional. And then they are the engravings. You can feel that all the necessary engravings on the movement, including the 4131 marking, are done with a deep cut, hot stamped process, making them very three-dimensional. Furthermore, the movement plates are finished with a very fine Geneva stripe polishing. This is another point of distinction you should look for. You can really feel the difference. The entire movement, when fully wound, has a power reserve of about 70 hours. It has an instantaneous date change feel, though there's no calendar function to control. And whether it's the Dandong 4130 or the Dandong 4131, the stability of the movement is completely comparable to an ETA 7750. The stability is extremely high, and the repair rate is incredibly low. I'm not kidding you. This is based on market feedback. I rarely receive Daytona models with the Dandong 4130 or 4131 for repairs. And you can also feel the engravings on the automatic rotor. They are all this deep cut, hot stamped style, along with the crown logo. 27 ball bearings, right here, 27 ball bearings. Actually, whether the ball bearings have any practical significance, I don't know, but they did make it with 27 of them, and the power reserve can also reach about 70 hours. Another point is the design of the lever system here. Let me demonstrate for you. It's quite interesting to play with. First, let's wind it. As I'm winding, you can feel the entire gear train rotating. You can get a feel for it. See, all the gears are genuinely functional. That's the first thing. The second is that when we start the chronograph, this column wheel will operate normally. Let's unscrew the pushers first. This one is unscrewed too. Now you can feel it. Let's press the chronograph pusher. See, it starts the chronograph. Right, then if you press it again to pause, the column wheel will stop. Then you press the reset pusher. Right, let me demonstrate one more time. With this Dandong movement, the 4130 or 4131, you can play with the chronograph. But if it's a 7750 based movement, you should use the chronograph function sparingly. Press it again, see, starts the chronograph. Then you press it again to pause. The column wheel will turn slightly. Then you press the top pusher again to reset. See, it resets. Every single gear you can see in the movement is fully functional. A true integrated movement, and its stability is truly exceptional. Finally, I'll put it on my wrist for you to see and also explain how to set the time. So, for the Daytona's chronograph functions, let me quickly explain again. 3 o'clock is the minute counter, 9 o'clock is the hour counter, and 6 o'clock is the independent small seconds hand. And this longest, thinnest hand, the one that's currently blocked, is the chronograph seconds hand. Meaning, after we unscrew the pusher, you press the chronograph button and it starts. Right, press it again, it pauses, and the bottom one is for reset. You must pause it first before resetting. After you're done, just screw the pushers back down. Just tighten them. Now for the crown design and time setting, let me show you. It's a screw-down crown, after you unscrew it. Once it pops out, this is the winding position. Then pull it out one more click to adjust the hands. Yes, it moves smoothly, and there is no date setting position. And this movement, when fully wound, can achieve a power reserve of 70 hours, and its stability is truly exceptional. Just push it in and turn it clockwise at the same time to tighten it.